So here we are, folks. It's really good. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to Nick, who's joined us this evening for the first in the series of me, Jesus and the Church. Hi, Nick. It's really good to see you.
Hello, Langley. Nice to be with you.
Now, Nick is known to some of us as a local preacher. And we start with the me part. But, of course, I'm sure there's way more to Nick than just being a local preacher. But apart from that, I know and understand that he is very committed at Whittlesey. He's got a lovely wife, Zoe, and a great family. I know they're in the background. And apart from that, all I know, Nick, is that you have a gardening business.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more.
Right. Well, gardening business. I'm a landscape gardener, a garden maintenance.
Talking with Helen Cameron, I'm not a brilliant gardener at all. I mean, I can barely keep spider plants alive, but I can understand what's happened in the modelling, that you kind of set something up and it was, a retail unit. But then the issue you suddenly found was that people were like, well, how do I use this? How do I nurture this? And that's where the kind of business has sort of grown from when you return back to it. And there's something about rolling your sleeves up as well.
Yeah.
Being prepared to do the maintenance stuff.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued though, because you must see into a lot of other people's gardens. Is that a fascinating insight?
Well, what I really enjoy is the transformation process.
Right.
Walking into somebody's in recent times with what I've found actually in last year with lockdown, with what's been happening, people have been more aware of their surroundings, and have been more aware of what's around them, and wanting what's around them to look better. I've also, with an aging population, I've come across some very, very good gardeners. You can see they've planted some really nice gardens.
Yeah.
But they've come to an age where they enjoy the surroundings, but are not able to maintain them as well as they have been able to do in the past. And they've really appreciated me, a good, honest person who knows his plants, who knows how to look after plants, maintaining the gardens how they would have liked them to have looked when they were able to do it themselves.
So you're not one of those. Yeah, you're obviously an educated unit, aren't you? You're not coming along with the strimmer going, here you go,
Definitely
the whole lot goes. But
definitely, I do not class myself as a jobbing gardener. I'm a guy who knows his plants, he knows how to prune, when to prune, how to prune, etc. And certainly the vast majority of my customers appreciate, dare I say, my expertise.
Well, no, I think that's it. There is a difference. Just because somebody can buy a box of crayons doesn't make them an artist. Just because somebody can buy a camera doesn't make them a photographer. It's one of the things in my former trade, or it's still kind of paying dividends really. But just because you can buy the creative stuff doesn't mean that you can be creative. But also, it is a great compliment really that a seasoned gardener is prepared to turn to you and trust them with their work. I mean, what I get is I look out of our back window, quite frankly, and I look at the back garden, and there is an issue. There's always been an issue with, trying to maintain manse gardens. Roe does more, especially in the summer, because I suffer badly with hay fever. But I do look out. I think a lot of people have looked out into their gardens and thought, oh, my life, that needs a tidy out there or stuff. So I can relate to that. So is it true that it sounds like you refer to kind of the fact, is it true that sort of agriculture has been in your blood since the day you were born?
Yes. I mean, to be honest, I've done a slight sideways move from that. To be honest, I was hoping to have studied agriculture at university, but unfortunately, I was offered places at university, but my A-level grades didn't achieve what required to do it. So I took the next step down and did a higher national diploma at an agricultural college in Bedford.
Right.
So I graduated in '84 with a higher national diploma in agriculture. I was brought up on in these days would be termed a small holding in Farset family, and my father was sort of third generation of of farmers, and being he had three boys in the family, but neither three of us really wanted to go into practical farming, if you like. It being only a small 85-acre holding, I'm actually amazed how my father managed to bring up a family of three boys on such a small holding. I mean, at this day and age, I don't think by any stretch of imagination 85 acres would be a viable farm, unless it was intensively farmed, like for market gardening. Where
tell us a bit about kind of the Jesus bit. So it's me, Jesus. So tell us a bit about your faith. I mean, I'm conscious when I sort of invite people to talk about their faith that some people, you say, you know, when did you give your life to Christ? And they go, well, I've known no different. You know, particularly with sons and daughters of the manse, for example. A lot of people can remember a time when they kind of came close to Jesus. You know, things were much more intense for them, and they made a commitment. And other people, you know, can have come with no connection with the church at all. So, what's been your experience of growing in sort of faith? I mean, how's that worked out?
Well, I was brought up in the Methodist Church from a baby in arms, basically. My father was the steward at the local Methodist Church in Farset Village. His father, my grandfather, was a local preacher, and my father's grandfather, my great grandfather, they were all you know, brought up in the Methodist Church. So Methodism is sort of, I suppose, is my heritage in my blood. I've always said, well, how long have you been involved with the church? And I said, well, ever since my mum used to carry the cradle and sit me on the back of the church. So yes, I've been, you know, in the church, if you like, from birth.
But at the same time, I'm aware, because we've talked, certainly as part of local preachers training, I remember that conversation we had at local preachers meeting when we were all moved. You at the same time, you're not somebody who talks about church as if it's the dutiful thing to do. I mean, you've got a passionate sort of faith in Jesus there. I mean, separating Nick from not saying Jesus, I mean, I can't imagine that happening in one of your sermons. You know, was there a point that you things became more intense for you, that you had?
Definitely. I can remember a turning point would have been in my early teen years when I was probably about 14 or 15, a group of young people went on an excursion in the minibus of 12 of us to well, you would know, Cliff College.
Oh, yeah.
A convention, the Whit Maybank holiday weekend, where there were some very good speakers there, and certainly some of the Cliff evangelists sort of shared their story and their testimony. And it was at one of those meetings where I can remember there was a chorus being sung. Here comes Jesus, he's standing on the water, he's holding out his hand for you. And I was developing thoughts of faith and of Jesus, and that weekend it became a tangible relationship, a tangible person, if I to become involved with, and it wasn't a tradition, a religion. It was definitely the start of an absolutely beautiful and wonderful relationship. And that week we came home, and I think as a group of young people from Peterborough Methodist circuits, we all felt, well, we'd like a bit more of this, if you like. And the person who took us there, he was prepared to do a midweek fellowship Bible study group to encourage us to develop a further research or study of God's word. And we had a midweek Wednesday night fellowship, and to be honest, my development in my Christian faith was more from that midweek fellowship group than I would actually have to say from going to a Sunday morning or Sunday evening service.
Well, certainly. I mean, it'd be good. It was certainly good to unpack that, but I'm going to just prod, if I may, a bit more about what happened at so for the uninitiated. So Nick's like obviously been raised in the life of the church, and then there are various festivals. So Whit Festival is a particular festival in the faith around Pentecost. We remember the presence of God's Holy Spirit with us. So we refer to as our comforter, our counselor, our helper. And so there are various lots of celebrations, and Cliff College, which is where one of the places where I went, they still have a Cliff Festival to this day, and lots of other festivals as well. But it was that process, Nick, of going away from your local church, and as you would usually do, and then you enter into worship with a whole other different group of people. It's like a holiday camp for kind of Christians, but not corny. But are you able to say something to me about what it felt like, or is it just too difficult to explain? Obviously, the words have hit hard because you can remember those words right now. Can you? I mean, what did it feel like?
I mean, being brought up in the Methodist Church, Methodist tradition, and through Sunday school. I was even a Sunday school teacher at the young age of 13, 14. And I would follow, if you like, resources that were there to expand Bible notes or teaching of Jesus to young people who were in Sunday school. And I suppose going to Cliff, and something happened to me that actually made the thought of knowing Jesus as a personal friend, comforter, and help and guide a lot more real and tangible, far beyond just reading words out of a resource manual. He became real. And if people ask, well, how do you mean he became real? He just, we talk about coming to faith, and it's very difficult for me to explain what that is until one experiences it themselves. I honestly believe you have to experience this amazing relationship with Jesus yourself to come to know what it is all about. I mean, I think there's words in the Bible where say, taste and see that the Lord is good. And I think it comes to a point where you have to taste and see for yourself. Somebody can, preach, guide, tell you a story of Jesus and what Jesus means him or herself, but there comes a point where you have to make that personal choice decision yourself to taste him, if you like, to taste him for yourself.
I think that's really helpful, Nick. And in a way, I can see your diligence in your thinking and reflecting. And it's in one sense, it's a really difficult question, because I'm asking you to put into words what is beyond words. I get that.
Yeah.
And I think what you said is really helpful, particularly about how the Spirit can make our relationship with God real, rather than just, because anyone can read religion, anyone can I think theologically, but it's that personal relationship you talk about, that personal dimension, that at least in some way I think you've really helped folks, because I think and no doubt we'll sort of hear it again from others, but this, that there is something that's intangible, difficult to explain, but something that's very real about, well, I guess what Matt was talking about in his reflection last week, a kind of leveling up, if you like. We're lifted up and we see things in different ways. So I'm really encouraged. Thank you. I'm sure other people are encouraged. What I would like to do is that if we just come to a close sort of now,